Are you okay?
I'm okay. And right now I can come to you if I'm not.
Hello, and welcome back to our channel. 8 mistakes made by the Frasier Reboot and how Season 2 can correct them. Warning, this content contains spoilers. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. The Frasier relaunch on Paramount Plus was a mashup of the original Frasier and the new Frasier. These are the changes that Season 2 should make. Frasier Reboot mistakes problems Season 2 fix. Summary of the contents. The humorous tone of the Frasier remake is more comparable to The Big Bang Theory than the original Frasier, since the cast's delivery and timing appear disjointed.
Freddie, where are you?
Right here, Dad.
The original Frasier's intellectual and cultural allusions are missing in the revival, and Season 2 should work on introducing more sophisticated entertainment. Since Frasier depiction by Kelsey Grammer is the only aspect of the reboot that seems authentic to the original series. The revival must highlight Frasier romantic relationships and interactions with his psychiatric students in order to fully embody the spirit of the character. Let's begin. The only piece of the reboot that seems genuine to the original series is Kelsey Grammer's depiction of Frasier, and the revival has to emphasize Frasier's love life and connection with his psychiatry students to capture the spirit of the character. The first season of the Frasier Reboot has completed, and the polarizing revival got a lot of things wrong about the eponymous character and his television world, but a second season can correct things.
And you brought some champagne. Same brand of high-end champagne we just ran out of.
Frasier saw celebrated radio psychiatrist Frasier Crane Kelsey Grammer return to Boston as a guest professor at Harvard University, where he extolled his usual witticisms while reconnecting with his adult son Frederick and overseeing his nephew David's academic achievements. By the conclusion of Frasier, he has gotten used to his new coworkers as well as his lively neighbor Eve. Relocating in with Freddie replicated the formula seen in the first season of Frasier, which lasted for 11 seasons, in which a hesitant Frasier moved in with his retired police officer Father Martin, the late great John Mahoney, after relocating from Boston to Seattle. While the 10 episodes of Frasier attempted to replicate the comic and intellectual components that made Frasier so adored and separate from Cheers, while modernizing it for a new period, neither job was fully accomplished. A Frasier Season 2 wishlist may address any obvious flaws and growing pains that beset a relaunch of this magnitude.
And I thought that meant there'd be champagne.
So I brought you a cappuccino.
1. The tone of the comedy is more Big Bang Theory than Frasier. The jokes aren't as sharp as in classic Frasier. Frasier and Freddie in the Season 1 conclusion of the Frasier Reboot. The tone of the Frasier remake is more akin to the Big Bang Theory and other Chuck Lorre comedies than to the original. Kelsey Grammer's timing is superb, although he frequently seems to be in a separate series than the rest of the ensemble since their delivery is better suited to the current humorous tone. There should be a preference for rapid-fire speech banter and fewer dramatic pauses for the punchline in Frasier's second season, along with a notable absence of mugging for the camera and hypertrophied facial expressions that indicate the audience can't appreciate the complexity of a joke. 2.
What made Wilhelm Maximilian Wundt tick?
The Frasier Reboot requires intelligence and culture. Dozens of cultural references were used in the original Frasier. Frasier in the Season 1 conclusion of the Frasier Reboot. Frasier made several subtle allusions to classical literature, music, and creative culture. Given that the title character is still the series' major emphasis, it comes as no surprise that the series' intellectual component, which was a highlight even in its prime, would survive. While the television environment has altered throughout time, there is still a place for highbrow entertainment, especially in the prestige TV age. Season 2 of Frasier may fine-tune the cultural references by focusing on Frasier's surroundings at Harvard, as well as Freddie's classical education, which only appears when he's had too much to drink. 3. The Frasier revival is deficient the original Frasier formula. The new Frasier Reboot isn't about farces. Frasier was always a sarcastic show with comedic features, including entendres, innuendos, puns, wordplay, and layers of misunderstandings. Only Frasier episodes 6 and 10 from the first season, which required managing many love dates and a Christmas party, came close to becoming classic Frasier episodes. The remainder of the episodes came off as generic sitcom episodes that could have been relevant to any other show rather than one that centered on Frasier, which is something that the second season has to fix if it wants to keep its committed fan base that liked the first series' execution. 4. Frasier is the only character who feels like Frasier. Only Frasier feels like a character from the original show. Kelsey Grammer is clutching a box in the Frasier revival and looks upset. Kelsey Grammer has portrayed Frasier Crane for decades, and he fits into his character's characteristics like a beautiful cashmere jumper. But he's also the one thing about the Frasier remake that feels like Frasier, which is why the joke about Freddie making Frasiering a verb is so fitting. The joke stems from the terrible truth that the humor only reaches fresh, dizzying, hilarious heights when Frasier behaves like himself. Season 2 of Frasier may concentrate on the things that bring out the best in Frasier, such as his love life and, most importantly, interacting more with his psychiatric students. 5. The Frasier Reboot cast lacks chemistry. The Frasier cast must get acquainted with one another. One of the most notable aspects of the original Frasier was that it was outstanding from the start, thanks in large part to the script and chemistry of the ensemble. Everyone was at the top of their game from the start, and they only improved and perfected their abilities as the series won Emmy after Emmy. The reboot Frasier cast does not yet have the same chemistry as the original Frasier ensemble, although the end of Frasier did appear to imply they may gel if given the right material. Certain characters, such as Eve, will need more than simply being defined by their closeness to the primary characters. 6. The Frasier Reboot is gone Niles Frasier, like Niles Frasier Reboot Episode 5, needs another character to play off of. David and Eve. Certain original Frasier cast members, most notably David Hyde Pierce, are missing from the remake, leaving a noticeable absence. Frasier's meticulous younger brother is referenced repeatedly throughout the reboot, but considering the actor's sentiments about the revival in general, it's doubtful that Niles would appear. Niles' son David tries his best to imitate his father's eccentricities and slapstick humor, but Season 2 of Frasier has to give him more to do. Hopefully, it will continue to nurture his friendship with Alan's helper, who produced some of the greatest tales by the end of the show. 7. More Frasier and Cheers original cast guest stars are required for the Frasier Reboot. Original Frasier characters will ground the reboot. In the Frasier Reboot, Perry Gilpin plays Roz Doyle. Fortunately, Frasier was able to resurrect Roz and Lilith as their original Frasier personas, giving the new series immediate legitimacy. Frasier was able to engage with them in ways that made sense not just for his character, but also for the plots of their particular episode's Lilith more so than Roz. In a series like Frasier, having original cast members not only lends validity to the remake, but also allows it to make sense within its own brand, and if Season 2 can do anything better, it can fully use original Frasier and Cheers guest stars. 8. Freddie's personality is incongruous Frasier Reboot Episode 5. Freddie is supposed to be an intellectual Freddie and Eve. The main problem with the Frasier Reboot is Freddie and his character's demeanor. Freddie was the son of two highly educated and analytical parents, and his scholarly nature looked to be a combination of both Lilith and Frasier in the original Frasier. In his present incarnation, it's evident that he's designed to replace Martin's working-class whole, yet even in that role, he lacks Martin's biting viewpoint. Martin was just as brilliant as his boys. He just didn't complicate things as much. Season 2 will need Freddie to include more of his original design. Thank you for watching. Thank you for